Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Let's Talk session. Today, we have with us Althea Walters. So, let me just tell a little about Althea. She's a trainer, coach, business manager, and she also holds a master's degree in human resource management. However, Althea is known as my goal tracker queen. Let me tell you why I say this. Because a couple years ago, she came onto Smile Jamaica and she pretty much launched her My Goal Tracker workbook. And let me tell you, people, it works. She breaks it down. So today we're actually going to be speaking about how to set goals in times of crisis. And because we're going through this COVID pandemic, does it mean that you stop planning? Does it mean that you stop setting goals? So for today, we're going to be having a discussion with Althea. Althea, welcome to Let's Talk.
Hi, Kayan. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So first and foremost, for those of the viewers, what exactly is goal setting?
All right. So goal setting is really, and I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. It's really a series of plans to actually work towards achieving your goals. So think about setting tiny bits and large bits of action items towards moving towards achieving your goals. So it is in the same way how when you think about big corporate companies, how they really have to sit down and do a plan to say, what are they going to do to either improve their business or increase revenue or go into a new market or put out a new product. It's the same thing for your personal goals. So it's really a set of guided actions that should motivate you towards achieving your goals. And that is goal setting in a nutshell.
Okay, just to a follow-up question to that, how important it is to really understand the type of goals that we set. Is it that we should always align them with what we're good at, not just looking at someone else's goals and say, I can do that?
All right, I think it is twofold. I think really and truly what you want to do at the end of the day, because to make it a goal, it's really a commitment, right? And so if you're going to work towards something that is a goal for you, you want to be committed to it towards the end. But there are some people who will do something because they see somebody else doing it, and they may say, I have the talent as well, and so let me try it. Nothing is wrong with that, because we do need a forum where we can play around and exercise our different talents and everything and our potential. But what happens to it is that after a while, because it was not your personal goal that you are committed to, it fades away.
Yes.
It's not long lasting. And so you'll find that persons who just jump on a bandwagon to do something because somebody else is doing it, it fades away over time because it's not their natural doing. So yes, the type of goals are different. There's some, if you want to even align it with a fad, that could be a goal that other persons are doing. You can go ahead and do that. But personal goals are internal driven things. It's like you want to do it, you have to do it. It's a burning desire for you to achieve it. And so I would say there are two types of goals, and it's okay if you try both of them.
All right, so how do you set achievable goals? How does one go about doing that?
All right, so to set achievable goals, it sometimes, when you read books and when you listen to persons, it may seem so simple, we have to set goals that you can achieve. But how do you really do it? It takes time, and it takes reflection, and it takes actually new learning and new knowledge, because you may get up one day, want to do a goal, but you really don't know where to start. Achievable goals all comes in play in terms of when you're thinking about, what can you do with your potential right now? What can you do with your capacity right now? And you may even find that two persons may have the same goals and they do it at different levels. I may be at level 2 and the next person may be at level 10, right? But it doesn't mean that something is wrong. It's really it really is based on your capacity and your capability of what you can do and what you can achieve. So you really have to start with really and truly, where am I in my life? Where am I in my resources?
Yeah.
You know, in order for me to then set something achievable, because my resources may only take me to X point, meanwhile somebody's resources may triple what it is. So it really depends first on your capacity, your capability, and your resources in terms of setting achievable goals. So for example, you can't say you want to buy a house by the end of this year when you really don't have the money in place and the know-how in terms of you have not done the behind the
research.
scenes and the research and everything that you want to do. So
Mm-hmm.
achievable really starts first within your capability and your capacity, and then your resources.
All right, that's some good points. I think one of the things that we lack is really sitting down and going through the steps in terms of
Yeah.
how to actually let this goal, that the goal needs to be achievable. We just kind of go head on, and then
Yeah.
wherever the chips fall or they may fall, that's where we kind of find ourselves swimming or trying to, try not to let ourselves drown. But that is really good in terms of looking and aligning your resources. Because if you want to buy a house, then you have to think about, how am I going to get my deposit together, escalation costs, all of that, lawyer fees, pretty much. So that's a good some good pointers. But why do persons struggle with goal setting? What's the setback?
Yeah. So guess what? Persons struggle with goal setting for a number of reasons. So for example, one, they want to achieve it too quickly, right? So you just want to just get up today with the goal, and then tomorrow you want to have it in your hand, you want to see it, and you struggle because you are going against a tide that you have set too high for yourself, right? So the first thing is to not to really, we talk about achievable goals. That is one of the reasons why persons struggle, because it's not achievable within the time that they want to. And so that's the first point. The next point is that persons really, really struggle because they don't know where to start, right? You may have a goal, you may actually, dreamt it up, but you really don't know where to start, and you get stuck with it. And I must say, even though I am here today talking to you about goals and goal setting and everything, I once struggled with having dreams and goals and not knowing where to start, not knowing how to break down my goals to make it more simple and actionable so that I can move forward. So those are 2 points, is that really and truly we set unrealistic timelines, and you struggle with it because you feel like you're not moving, or you're not achieving. And then 2, you don't know where to start, and so you also struggle with that. Another point that I want to share with you about why people struggle, it's really because of limiting beliefs that we bestow upon ourselves, or we believe people bestow upon us. And they're not easy to handle, but at the same time, if you're not aware of them, it will hold you back for a very long time. Limiting beliefs, that thinking that, I'm not capable of doing this goal or achieving this goal, I am not worthy of it, I don't have the time to do it. That is also a limiting belief. I struggled with that, and I'm very proud to say that I've overcome it and been able to really produce my goal tracker, produce coaching services that support persons with productivity. And so I had to do the work to get moving, to get over my limiting belief about I don't really have the time. So your confidence level, or you believe that persons are going to judge you. And it's, guess what, people will look at you and judge you for various things, but how long can they continue? And if it is that they continue, how long are you going to let it affect you? Because it doesn't matter what. If you get up today and you wear a pink dress, and tomorrow you wear a pink dress for the entire week, and tomorrow you switch to yellow, they're going to wonder what is happening to you. So they're going to happen, and it's just a matter of us doing the self-work, because a lot of people struggle with limiting beliefs, and because of limiting beliefs, it become a hindrance in people even taking the first step in moving towards their goals.
Yeah, and that's so true. I think you have to work on yourself mentally first before you even put pen to paper, because a lot of times we get so much into our heads, or for others, but then there are others who they have to consult 50 people to give them validation to say, all right, this is what you should do, okay, go ahead. But what if those 50 people tell you no?
Exactly.
You know, so we definitely have to look at those limitations and see how best we can navigate and say, okay, you know what, this is what I have in mind. Let me put pen to paper, let me break them down, and then of course setting realistic timelines of how this can actually come to fruition.
Right. And just to add, you see, with the limiting beliefs, what will really happen, is that the more you take a step to try it, or even say, let me do this and let me see if they will judge, just continue doing it. The more you take a step towards it, it moves you into action, and you forget about the limiting belief. So it all goes, actually, they don't go anywhere without action. Whether or not you have limiting beliefs, resources, or time, it doesn't matter. It goes nowhere. You just need to take action.
Yeah, but because before I've always wanted to do an actual forum like this, but then I had these, oh no, I need a huge production and I need it was too much. And my brother said, sis, just start small and grow organically. You know, you
Yeah.
don't want to go through the gate in terms of this huge thing and you can't maintain it. So just start small and then see how well it will grow. So it's really important to keep that in mind as well, because sometimes, as I say, we get into our own heads of what
Mm-hmm.
is it that should happen, and then we don't end up doing anything at the end of it.
Exactly.
So, all right, so let's talk about this acronym now, SMART goals. For those who
Right.
are familiar with SMART goals, what are those?
All right, so let's just step back and what the acronym really is. SMART, it spells S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for realistic, and T for timeline. And I think throughout our conversations just now, I would have mentioned certain examples that bring us back straight to the acronym, right? So you want to make sure that your goals are SMART, bearing in mind the acronym that we just shared. So specific. So for example, I want to start my business. You saying I want to start my business is not specific enough.
Right.
So you would want to name the type of business that you want to start, and then you also want to name probably a timeline along the way, and that will come in our timeline example. But to be specific, you could say, I want to start my babysitting business, for example, right? Because I believe that, you know, based on where we are in the world now, I think that is a service that if you have the natural innate ability to be around kids and serve kids, that's a business line that you can start. So I want to start my babysitting business is specific, not just want to start a business. Measurable. So going along with another example, if you are writing a book, you want to also have measurable tasks at the end of a week or a month per se. So if you're going to write a book, you want to make sure that you can have a deliverable that says, I will be completing 2 chapters of my book by next week, and you have a date, right? The
Right.
2 chapters is measurable because you can see if you have done it or not.
Yeah.
Right? So it's measurable. And earlier we gave an example of the house. You want to purchase a house. So we are now onto the A acronym, which is achievable. You want to purchase a house by December, a date, and it is now June, but you have not saved your deposit, you have not done your research, it may not be achievable by that time, right? So that's the achievable part of it, and it has to be realistic. So your goal of, for example, opening a school, I'm just going to say this in terms of realistic. Is that really realistic if you say you want to open a school based on just based on your career now, based on where you are, based on knowledge, based on all of that? Is that a realistic goal that I really want to go after? Because sometimes we will just come up with things, right? So that's the R in the SMART. And timeline, everything needs a timeline. So if we go back to example number 1, I want to open my babysitting business by August 2021, for example. That's a timeline that is there. Everything that you do regarding your goal requires a timeline. If it doesn't require a timeline, you can't put action steps for it. And if it doesn't have a timeline, what happens is that it takes a longer time to accomplish. So you will just come up with the thought of you want to do something, but it has no date, so you never start. You have nothing working towards. You have nothing, no timeline, no goals, no action plan, any at all. So it's just there out in the atmosphere waiting for somebody else to grab your dreams.
Yes, that is so true. I think, especially with this downtime, I find that persons are now actively looking to start certain projects that they never had a chance to really get off the ground. But just to segue a bit in terms of how do we literally zero in and go, okay, I still need to do goal setting even in this time of a pandemic. What should be actually the actionable things that we should be focusing
All right, so I believe that it's a perfect time to do goal setting, perfect opportunity. One of the things that I'm very grateful for during this time is that the hustle and bustle has really reduced, and persons believing that they have to be doing 10 or 20 things at the same time, that actually fades, and it gives us more time for reflection. So to do goal setting, especially within a crisis during this time, you actually have to commit to doing it. That's the first thing. You have to commit to doing it. And if it is that you have committed, the next thing that you need to do is set a time to do it. So set a time to do it, and it's going to take reflection, and it's going to take support. So if it is that you don't know how to do it and you need help, then call out to persons who can help you. So it is, doing it during this time is highly recommended, because we're going to get up and go back into the hustle and bustle, and you want to be able to set your framework now, set your plan now, so that when you're ready to move again, you have a guideline to follow. Remember earlier I said that goal setting is really a guided set of action plans to help you move towards your goals. So it is a perfect time during a crisis, perfect opportunity to do goal setting. Your brain is more relaxed if you're not taking in the outside world too much. Right. Your brain is more relaxed and can think about things that you wanted to do. Just, get a planner or a workbook that you can actually write down your thoughts in. You don't even have to get the plan perfect. The first step to goal setting is just trying to dump your thoughts so that you can go back to it and look at it. So it's important that you really don't waste a crisis. That's my message, is that never ever waste a crisis. It's a perfect opportunity to either fix things that you have done before, try new things, and try new projects.
All right, and I think that's a perfect advice to end on for this Let's Talk session. Thank you so much, Althea. Really, really good points that you gave in terms of setting our goals, and remembering that a goal is really a commitment that you're actually sticking to. And speaking about the limiting your limiting beliefs, that you have that to say, you know, I'm not capable of doing this. And that is why many, many individuals don't get the opportunity to really start. For our viewers, could you just share with us how they can contact you, your Instagram handle and your email address?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram at my goal tracker. So that's at MYGOAL tracker, TRACKER. My email address is biggoaltracker@gmail.com. So you can visit me on my Instagram, my email, and my website is www.blazingbeyond.com, which is the home of my goal tracker.
Yes, and just to let everyone know that I'll be putting all that information in the description box, right on the actual YouTube page. So you can just go straight there and definitely check out Althea's services. It's worth it. She's here to help persons grow, individuals grow. And as I said, I had to do this, yeah. Do you know how long Althea gave me this? And COVID just provided the perfect time to really, this is where I
Perfect
do all
time.
my Let's Talk sessions breakdown in terms of, yeah, how I want to actually have the conversations each week. So really, really thank you out there. I appreciate it so
You're
much.
welcome.
So that's where we leave it
Thank you so
today
much.
for our Let's Talk session. Next week we have another conversation. We're gonna really get into some finance, because we don't know how we're going to weather this storm in terms of the financial situations that are happening. A lot of persons are losing their jobs. How are they penny pinching? So we're going to talk finance for next week. So thanks again. I'm Kian Vaz, and see you next week for Let's Talk.